And so now for your rehearsals, this is the second program of the 2020 Radio Theater Festival presented by South Baldwin Community Theater. This is going to be Dragnet, the Big Filth.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to juvenile detail. 4 children in your city have apparently been abandoned by their mother. There's no trace of the woman's whereabouts. There's a possibility of foul play. Your job, investigate.
Today you hear 3 words everywhere. Chesterfields are for me. The cigarette tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfields for me. The cigarette with a proven good record with smokers, and the first cigarette to have such a record. Chesterfields for me. Chesterfields gives you proof of the highest quality, low nicotine, the taste you want, the mildness you want. The Chesterfields you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made, and best for you. Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime.
For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, February 8th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The captain, the boss, is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from juvenile hall, and it was 7:46 p.m. when I got to the office at 1335 Georgia Street.
Joe,
Yeah, Irene?
you talked to Captain Powers?
Yeah. Way it looks, Frank's going to be tied up in court for a couple of days. Going kind of hard.
Gang war, isn't it?
Yeah. Seems like everybody in town has climbed in on this one. Really making a big thing of it.
Uh-huh.
Well, the skipper said I was supposed to give you a hand on anything that might come up.
Then you just made it.
Hmm?
Woman in the next office. You better talk to her.
What's it about?
Be better if you got it straight from her.
Who is she, a crank?
I don't think so. See what you can figure.
All right.
Miss Eggers? Yes, Miss Gardner? You ready to do something about this? Yes, ma'am. I'd like you to talk to Sergeant Friday. Joe, this is Mrs. Eggers. How do you do?
Mrs. Eggers.
If you give him the story the way you told it to me. You bet I will. Sit down, young man. I'll tell you all about it.
All right.
Get your book out.
I beg your pardon?
Your book! You're going to take some notations, aren't you?
Well, if you'll just tell us what this is all about.
Yeah. Well, I don't want you to get the idea that I'm the nosy type. It's not. It's just that I take an interest in things that go on around me. Civil-minded's the way they put it in the papers.
Uh-huh.
Of course, there are people who say I pay too much mind to their business, but it isn't true. Not a bit of it. You tell the sergeant what happened? Oh, yeah. Well, these people moved into the house about 6 months ago. The 5 of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Stevie, Pamela, Carol, Martin, and the mother, Rowena. 4 kids and the mother.
All right. Would you like to go on?
Well, now right off, I could spot this woman. Seen a lot of them.
How do you mean that, Miss Eggers?
You can make it crystal if it's any easier.
Yes, ma'am. What do you mean? That you had seen a lot of them?
Alkies, you know. Drunks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's one. I could spot it right off. Her and those 4 beautiful children.
Yeah?
First few months they lived there, I'd maybe see her a couple times a week. You know, going in the house or coming out. Just a couple times a week.
I see.
Last week, 10 days, I haven't seen her at all. Not even a little sight. Now, right after they moved in, little Stevie, he's 11, he'd come around to the back door and ask if I had anything he could do for me. You know, sweep up the leaves on the lawn, empty the garbage, little things like that. Whenever I had something, I always let him do it. Used to pay him a nickel or a dime.
Yeah?
The last week, I've been giving him kind of little plate lunch, too. That's what really told me there was something wrong. That plate of lunch.
I don't understand.
Well, I don't have any children of my own, but my sister, she's got 5 of them. And once in a while, a couple of them come and visit their Aunt Crystal. And young man, I know kids. Isn't enough. Isn't enough food in the world to fill them up. None of them. Except Stevie. He never ate the food at my house. Always took the plate over to his place. Brought back the dish. He never took a mouthful of food at my place.
Mm-hmm.
So, right off, I figured that something was wrong. That's the way it looked to me. What about the children's father? Where's he? I ain't never seen him. I think he either died or him and Rowena got divorced or something. Never seen him. Matter of fact, I ain't seen the other 3 kids last week. I guess they just stay in the house all the time. Never see him out in the yard playing or acting like kids.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Eggers. We'll check on the house right away.
That's what I wanted this policewoman to do. Told her I'd go right along with you.
Well, that won't be necessary.
Now, listen, young man. If there's anything wrong with them kids, I want to know about it. I want to do my part. The whole neighborhood's talking.
Is that right?
Sure. Little Stevie's been to all the houses looking for something to do. Asking for work. It just seems to me there's something wrong about the whole caboodle of them. Not seeing the mother, and the way the boy don't eat the lunch plate. Not seeing the other kids. There's something that don't fit over there.
All right, ma'am. We'll look into it.
You do just that. You'll see what I say is true. Thank you, Miss Eggers. Don't go thanking me. Just trying to be civil-minded, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Just seems like there isn't anybody who cares about these kids.
Well, that's not true, Miss Eggers.
What?
We do. "8:14 p.m. Policewoman Irene Gardner and I left the office and drove over to the address the Eggers woman had left us. The house was a small, 1-story clapboard building located on the rear of the lot. The front yard was overgrown with weeds, and there were neighborhood advertising papers lying about. When we arrived, there was a faint light on in one of the front rooms. Irene and I went up to the front door, and we knocked. We got no answer. I tried the door, but we found it locked. There was no sign from inside the place. The shades were drawn over the windows, so that it was impossible for us to see into the house. We walked around to the rear and tried the back door.
Locked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, doesn't look like there's anybody home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk to that Eggers woman again, okay?
All right.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? From the story she gave us, the kids should be at home.
Well, you might be seeing things, Joe. You know, trying to figure out some way to get attention.
Yeah, might be. Didn't seem like that to me, though.
Joe.
What? What do you got there?
Front window. There. See it?
Yeah, there's somebody in there. Come on, let's go. I'll try it again.
Yeah. Not answering.
Come on, open up in there. We know you're in there. Come on, open the door.
What do you want?
Police officers, let us in.
There's nothing wrong. Go away.
No, we can't do that. Now, come on, open up.
Who are you going to arrest?
Nobody. We just want to talk to you.
You sure that's all?
That's right.
Okay. Just a minute. What do you want?
You Pamela Telford?
I haven't done anything wrong.
We didn't say you did.
Then what are you doing around here? What are you looking for? Your mother in? What? Is your mother home? Well, yeah, she's here.
Well, We'd like to see her, if it's all right.
You can't see her.
Well, I'm afraid we're going to have to.
She's lying down, asleep. That's why you can't talk to her.
Well, what's the matter, little girl?
Nothing. Why'd you ask something like that?
Don't you think you better let us in? We're going to have to talk to your mother.
But she's asleep. She's tired. You can't talk to her. You can't.
Now, come on. You want to go and wake her up? There's some things we got to talk to her about.
I wonder if we could come in. It's kind of wet out here. How about it?
And then you can get your mother and we can have our talks,
I guess you can come in. I guess it's all right. Come on in, Joe.
Yeah. The front room was about 12 feet square. The only light in the room came from a candle in a jelly glass on a table. The only furniture in the place was the table that held the candle and a torn artificial leather and chrome couch. The floor was covered with paper, rain-soaked cardboard boxes and dirty clothes. At a half a dozen places, drops of dirty water were seeping in through the roof. The water was being caught in empty tin cans that had been placed around the room. To the left was a door to a bedroom. In it, a wooden crib. There were 2 children. From the descriptions we'd gotten from the Eggers woman, we recognized them as Martin Telford, age 4, and his sister Carol, age 2. As soon as the children saw Irene and me, they hid their heads under the dirty blanket that covered the crib. There was nothing else in the room except a dirty mattress lying on the floor in one corner. From the appearance of the building and the bedding, it hadn't been laundered or changed in at least 3 weeks. On the other side of the house, a small kitchen was piled high with dirty dishes, pieces of rotting food, and empty tin cans. The plumbing in the house had apparently been out of order for several weeks. While Irene and I looked over the house, the girl who had met us at the door, Pamela Telford, followed us. When we got back to the front room, she started to cry. All right, you want to tell us who she is, where she is? Come on, Pamela. It's not as bad as all that, is it? Here's a handkerchief. Here you go. Now, where's your mother?
She's out looking for a job. It's kind of late for that, isn't it? I don't know. That's what she's doing, though. Out looking for a job.
Well, now, why'd you tell us that she was here tonight?
Because I didn't know what you wanted. I thought you were trying to arrest her.
Now, why'd you think that?
Because that's what she said.
Your mother told you that?
Yeah, she told us that policemen arrested people. She told us about it. You once did it to her. Your mother's been arrested? Yes.
You know why?
Because she was.
Well, what for? Do you know?
She got sick. She got sick and they put her in jail.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I told you she was asleep. I thought you'd go away and leave us alone. Sure is cold in here.
Yeah.
Do you have any heat in the house, Pamela? There's a heater in the bedroom. I'll turn it on.
Good.
It doesn't work. What? The heater doesn't work. Marty was playing one day and he broke the little rods on it. It doesn't work anymore. Well, we should be able to get some heat out of it. No, you won't. There isn't any gas. We turned it off.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think maybe you youngsters better come downtown with us, don't you think?
Why?
Well, it'll be warm down there. A lot more comfortable for you.
We can't go. We gotta wait here.
That's all right, Pamela. We'll leave word for your mother where you are.
We still can't go. We gotta be here when she gets home. She'll be playing mad if we aren't here. We gotta stay.
We'll explain it to her. Irene,
Yeah?
you want to call the crime lab? Have them come out and take some pictures of the place?
Right.
You want to get your brother and sister ready?
You're not going.
I'm sorry, honey, but there's just not much you can do about it. Maybe that's your mother now, huh?
No. It's Steve.
Who are you?
He's a policeman.
What do you want? There's nothing wrong here. Nothing for you to come butting in for. We want to see your mother, son. She hasn't done anything. Why don't you cops leave her alone? All the time you're after her. Never leave her alone. Why don't you leave her alone?
You bring something to eat, Steve?
Mister? What's that, son? You better get out of here. Don't call me son. What's the matter, Steve? Why are you acting like this? Because I don't like cops, that's why. You got no right to come in here like this. No right at all. We ain't done nothing. We're not bothering nobody. We're not causing any trouble. Now leave us alone.
You're looking for Ma, Steve.
I figured that. Well, she's not here, so get out.
Crime Lab's on the way, Joe. Hi, you're Steve, aren't you?
You a cop too?
I'm a policewoman, yes.
I just told your friend here to get out. You can put the same thing on.
You're kind of rough for a little guy, aren't you?
That's none of your business. I know my rights. I know I'm good. Well, look here, son. We're going to take you downtown, give you a good meal, just until we can talk to your mother, that's all. Then you're going to bring us back? Well, we'll see. How about Marty and Carol? You taking them too? Yeah. Going to give them something to eat? Yeah, that's right. Okay. We'll go with you. Just for tonight, though. That's all. Just for tonight, you understand? Yeah. Oh, and another thing. Yeah, what's that? We're paying our own way. I got money. Anything you give us, we're going to pay for. Well, you don't have to do that, son. Well, I'm going to. We don't need charity. We're getting along all right. Everybody has a little rough luck once in a while. Everybody. Mom tries. She really does. She's been looking for a job for a long time. All right, Steve. You want to help the others get ready to leave? I'm not sure we can go. Well, I'm afraid you're going to have to, son. All right. But just for tonight. But the only reason is that I want Marty and Carol and Pamela to have something hot to eat. There's nothing wrong with the stove, so... there's something wrong with the stove, so we can't cook on it. That's the only reason we're going. Just because there's something wrong with the stove.
Gas is turned off.
No, it isn't. It just don't work. But whatever we eat, whatever we get, we're going to pay for. I got the money. Well, no. I told you once before. That won't be necessary. It is too. We're not taking any charity. We've never taken any, and we're not going to start now either. Anything's done for us, it's going to get paid for. Yeah, I guess that's right, Steve. Huh? It'll be paid for. "8:56 p.m. Men from the crime lab arrived and photographed the entire house. The pictures were held for evidence. A search of the house showed that there was no food for the children. In a cardboard box in the bedroom, under a pile of toilet articles, we found a photograph of a man and a woman taken at what appeared to be a beach photographer's. Irene and I checked through the rest of the house, but we got nothing that would indicate where the mother of the 4 Telford children had gone. The youngsters were taken to juvenile hall, bathed, given clean clothes, and fed. At first, Steve Telford refused to eat anything until he was assured that his 2 sisters and his brother were being given the same kind of food. After the boy had finished eating, Irene and I talked to him. His previous uncooperative attitude had changed, and he seemed anxious to help us find his mother. Well, this is the longest she's ever been gone. I'm beginning to think there might be something wrong. Well, where'd you see her last, Steve? Well, this is Friday, isn't it?
Yes, February 8th.
Well, it was last Tuesday then. You mean this week, son? No, a week ago. A week ago Tuesday. Well, what did she say when she left? Just like always. She said she wasn't feeling very good and she was going to go out and try to find some work.
What kind of work does she do?
She's a waitress. A good one, too. That's the trouble, I guess. Well, she's so good.
What do you mean?
Well, there are only a couple of places that Mom says are any good. Where she'd want to work. I don't believe I understand what you mean, Steve. Well, Mom always said that she wasn't just a hash slinger. That's what she called it. Oh, I see. She said she was a waitress, and she couldn't go to work just any place. Where'd she work last? Big place out in Beverly Hills. Forgot the name right now, but when she got the job, before she went to work, Mom took us out there. We didn't go right in, but we stood in front and looked at it. Big place. Real nice. All kind of glass in front. You could see people inside having a good time. We didn't go in, but we could see it good. How long did your mother work there? Well, she had some trouble and she had to quit.
What do you mean, trouble?
She got sick. And the man who was her boss got mad at her, and I guess he said a lot of things that Mom didn't like. So Mom told him that he couldn't talk to her like that, and then she quit. Her mother ever tell you what was wrong with her, Steve? No, she didn't.
She see a doctor about it?
Well, you might as well know it. You're going to find out anyway. What's that, son? Well, Mom drank a lot. Sometimes she'd drink too much and then she'd get sick. Well, that's what was wrong. Mm-hmm. Where's your father, Steve? He died before Carol was born. Right before. I want you to take a look at the picture for us, will you? Look at it and tell us if you know who the man in it is. All right. Here you are. That's Mom. Mm-hmm.
Do you know who the man is?
No, I don't think I ever saw him before. Your mother have any men friends? No, I don't think so. At least she never told me about him. She always said that the kids were enough for her, that we were all that mattered. She used to say that when she got a steady job, we were all going to live good. She used to tell us how one day the phone would ring and all our troubles would be over, just like that. One day we'd have a little trouble, and the next everything was going to be all right. Mm-hmm. She really believed it, too. Just all of a sudden, the phone was going to ring, and then all our troubles would be over.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to tell her. Tell her what, son? That they turned the phone off. We had the name Rowena Telford checked through RNI, and we found out that the boy's story was true. The woman had been arrested once on a charge of 4127A, being drunk in a public place. Irene put in a call to the waitress union and asked them to check to see if the woman was working anywhere in town. They came back with the information that the last job she had held had been 6 months before, and that she'd been fired for insubordination and for being drunk. We showed the picture of the man and the woman that we'd found at the Telford home around the department, in the hopes that one of the officers might recognize the place where he had been taken. None of them did. The next morning, we had several copies made, and we began a search of the bars along 5th Street. We asked each bartender if he had ever seen the woman or the man. In the first 4 places we checked, we got yes answers to the query about the woman, but none of the people we talked to could tell us anything about the man in the picture. 2 more days passed without results. In the meantime, a warrant had been issued ordering the arrest of Rowena Telford, charging her with child neglect. A local and an APB were gotten out on her. On the 3rd day, after we had started our search for the missing woman, we talked with the bartender, who was able to give us the name of the man in the picture. He described the man as a fry cook in one of the smaller restaurants down on 5th Street. We checked the restaurant, but we found that he'd been fired on Monday, the 28th of January. A check of his home gave us no indication as to where he might be. Irene and I went back to the office and checked the name through R&I.
Joe,
Yeah? You come up with anything?
check the name. He's registered as an ex-convict.
Uh-huh. Where'd he fall?
Back in Pennsylvania. Did time for an ADW.
Well, we'd better talk to him, huh?
Right now, he looks awfully good.
Why do you say that?
What he was arrested for.
Yeah?
He tried to beat a woman to death.
You're listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. Meet Peter Lind Hayes and Mary Healy, America's favorite husband and wife comedy team. They are typical of smokers everywhere who are saying, Chesterfields for me. Mary says,
I've smoked regular-sized Chesterfields for about 7 years. Guess that ought to prove how I feel about Chesterfield's taste and mildness.
Peter says, Chesterfields for me too. As far as I'm concerned, King is the only size, and like Mary says, Chesterfield is the only cigarette.
Either way you like them, I'll bet you find Chesterfield's the best for you.
Yes, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette, regular and king-size Chesterfield, the best cigarette ever made, and best for you. An immediate search was started for the man in the picture with Rowena Telford. From friends of his, we found that we might be able to locate him at a hamburger stand down on Santa Monica, Tuesday, February 12th. Irene Gardner and I drove down to the beach.
Should be up here, huh?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thanks. It's warm in here.
Yeah. Yeah? We'd like to see Willis Thatcher. What for?
Police officers. You're Thatcher, aren't you?
Yeah? What do you want with me? Couple of questions we'd like to ask you. Sure. I got nothing to hide. No reason to give you any trouble. What do you want to know? You know a woman named Rowena Telford? Why do you ask that? It's a simple question, Thatcher. Can you give us the right kind of an answer? Well, how about it? Yeah, I know her. Why? What's she done now? When did you last see her? I don't know. A couple of weeks ago. Narrow that down, will you? Why? Listen, anything she did, I had no part of.
We understand you were pretty friendly with her.
Well, that's not true. Well, sure. Maybe I had a couple of dates with her. No more than a couple. Well, that's it. Isn't anybody in the world could put up with her for more than that? Why do you say a thing like that? You ever know her? No, we're looking for her. You?
No, never met her.
Well, that's how come you can ask that kind of a question, then. If you knew her, if you spent any time with her, you'd had to know what I meant. Well, suppose you tell us. She's a lush. A real lush. All the time boozing it up. Wasn't so bad she got loaded, but she was real loud when she was tanked up. Real loud. Is that right? Sure, check around. Ask her friends. Talk to them. They'll all tell you the same story. Every one of them. First off, she'd have a couple of drinks. Next thing you know, any fellow with her be trying to get out of a place without getting his head knocked off. She was always starting trouble. Sit down, order a drink, and the next thing you know, some guy was asking you outside. Well, I ain't built to go outside too often. I get hurt bad when I fight. She have any other boyfriends? You don't listen very good, do you? What's that? I told you. Isn't anybody around here to have much to do with her? As far as I know, there wasn't anybody who went with her.
How'd you seen the last time you saw her?
All right, well, she had a little hangover. Well, she always had one of those. Seemed depressed about anything. Not that she talked about. Mm-hmm. She say anything about leaving town? Not to me. Well, listen. How about giving me a break and telling me what this is all about? What are you after Rowena for? Those fights you told us about? You ever have any arguments with Mrs. Telford? I don't think that's any of your business. We're writing it down that it is. Now, how about an answer? We had a couple of beefs. I told you couldn't go around with her and not have a little trouble.
Did you ever hit her?
Well, we're back to that, huh?
What do you mean?
Well, you know the record. The time I did. You figure I maybe did something to Rowena. Isn't that it? You think I hurt her. We're asking you. Well, you're way off the road. I ain't gonna try to con you. Sure, maybe I had a lot of reasons to want to belt her. I used to think a lot of Rowena, an awful lot. But that's all over. All I wanted her to do was leave me alone. Stay away from me. I didn't ever hit her. I didn't hurt her, no matter what you think. All right. You gotta believe that. I guess it sounds funny. I ain't trying to fool anybody. I'm ready to admit it. I'm a bum. Mm-hmm. But she didn't have to keep telling me. Not all the time. I knew it. Yeah. Nobody likes to be called a bum. Uh-huh. Even if you know it's true. 1:47 p.m. We drove the suspect over to his rooming house, and we checked the premises. We found nothing that would definitely tie him in the disappearance of the Telford woman. After leaving his room, we took him downtown where he was held for further investigation on a charge of suspicion of murder. We checked communications, but we found that there had been no word on the missing woman. Her name and description had been checked through the files in Missing Persons Bureau without results. 3:40 p.m. Frank came by the office and said that the trial he was attending was dragging on, and there would be a couple more days before he'd be back on duty with me. A petition was filed on behalf of the children, charging violation of Section 273A PC, unfit home, asking they be made wards of the juvenile court. Policewoman Irene Gardner put in a call to the next-door neighbor of the Telford woman, but we found that there had been no trace of the missing woman since we'd removed the children. 5:12 p.m. We finished up the log for the day, and we were leaving the office. I got it. Juvenile, Friday. Yeah, that's right. What's that address? Yeah. Yeah, yes, sir. We'll be right there. Right. Thank you.
What do you got?
Bar over on 6th Street.
Yeah?
Rowena Telford just walked in. The bartender was one of those that we had questioned when we first started our investigation. At the time, he knew the Telford woman, but he said that he hadn't seen her for several weeks. On the phone, he told me that she had just walked into his bar. Irene Gardner and I left the office and drove over to the East 6th Street address, but the woman had just left. We had her description and a description of the clothes she was wearing, and we put that out to all cars in the area, but she was not picked up. Irene Gardner and I went back to the office, and we put out a supplementary bulletin on the woman. At 8:14 p.m., we got a call from the woman who had made the original complaint, Mrs. Crystal Eggers. She told us that the Telford woman had just walked into her own home. Irene and I left the residence, and we drove out to the house on Vallejo Drive.
Light on. She must still be home.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Just a minute. It's about time. It's about time you got here. You got him?
I beg your pardon?
You got the little brats? They run off. All of them. Get my hands on them and they're gonna get what for? Where are they?
We have them downtown, Mrs. Telford.
Why'd you bring them home? This is where they belong. Get my hands on them. Oh, I'm gonna give it to that little Steve.
You mind if we come in?
No, come right ahead. I'm gonna have to excuse the way the house looks. I've been away for a couple of days. You see how the kids can mess the place up.
I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Miss Gardner.
Oh, how do you do? Would you like to sit down? No, that's all right. How come you didn't bring him back?
They're being held in juvenile hall, Miss Telford.
What for?
Well, when we found them, they were suffering from malnutrition. And this place here, it's not fit for youngsters.
Oh, so you just took him and put him in a home. Is that the way it is?
Yes, ma'am. That's the way it is.
Well, you got your nerve. You really have. What? You come in here and breaking up a home like this? You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
We have a warrant for your arrest.
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you listen to me, cop. You got no right to come in here and break up my house. I know all about you cops. All about you. Pussyfooting around. Trying to make everybody think you're so good. I know you for what you are. And I tell you this.
Yes, ma'am.
You
What's that?
better get those kids back here fast. Do you hear me? You get them back here fast, because if you don't, I'm going to sue you and her and this city for every dime it's got. I'll take you to this court in the country, and I have to, and I'm going to get my kids back. You ain't half as good as you think you are. You want a plane? Real plane so you can understand it? You stink. That's what. All of you. Stink.
All right, ma'am. I think that's enough of that. Where have you been for the last 2 weeks?
It was the most terrible thing that ever happened to me. To anybody. He told me he loved me. He said we were going to get married. I thought it'd be nice for the kids. That's what I thought. For the kids. We were going to drive down to Mexico and get married. All nice.
Uh-huh.
And everything was going nice. I gave Stevie a couple of dollars and told him to take care of things. And we left and we drove all the way to San Diego without stopping. And we had some lunch. And on our way to get married. We had a couple of drinks just to make the food taste better. That's all. And all of a sudden I got sick again and he walked out on me. Left me right there in the bar. By myself. All the promises he's made to me. All the things we was gonna have. And all of it's just a lot of lies. As soon as I get a little sick, I just had a couple of drinks and he walked out on me. Left me right here. All by myself, you know? All by myself. I didn't have no money. No way to get back. What was I gonna do? I believed him. I really thought he was gonna marry me. I believed all he said. Things were gonna be better. I believed all of it. The dirtiest trick I ever heard of. Walking out on a girl like that. The dirtiest trick.
I got one to beat it.
Huh?
The trick you pulled on your own children.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 4th, trial was held in Department 97 Superior Court of the State of California for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Friends, we've tried very hard to set a Dragnet standard. Now, to put that in just a few words, we try to make each program the kind of entertainment that you want. Well, we're going to keep working real hard at that. And you know, the people who make Chesterfields feel the same way about their cigarette. To sell a product, you have to make it good and keep it good. And the latest reports from our research lab shows Chesterfields is highest in quality, low in nicotine. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette, Chesterfield, regular or king size. They're milder, they're satisfying, they're best for me, best for you. Rowena Esther Telford was tried and convicted of violation of Section 273 APC, endangering the life and safety of a minor, which is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for a period of not more than 1 year. The 4 Telford children were made wards of the juvenile court and were placed in foster homes. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahue, Sergeant Mary Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Script by John Robinson, music by Walter Schumann. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. And now, a brief 15-minute intermission with refreshments in the lobby, and then the SBCT Radio Theater Festival will continue with the hit screwball comedy, My Man Godfrey.